We're in Germany. Of course it starts to rain even though it's summertime. We're in Germany. Of course the buildings look like they're straight out of a fairy tale. We're in Germany. Of course there's a sausage store on every corner. We're in Germany. Of course they have a scheduled time for coffee and cake.
Kaffee und Kuchen.
Yeah, we're in Germany. Of course you have to pay to use the restroom. But it's super cute in here. We're in Germany. Of course all the cars are so small because the roads are so narrow. Guys, look, it's on the sidewalk. We're in Germany. Of course we're gonna look both ways before crossing the street. You never know when they can get busy. We're in Germany. Of course there's a cathedral on every corner. We're in Germany. Of course they have a whole aisle just for chocolate. We're in Germany. Of course there's bakeries on every corner of the street. Should I go to this one or should I go to that one? How do I know which one's better? We're in Germany. Of course now we only drink sparkling water. We're in Germany. Of course it's still super bright outside even though it's 9 p.m. Like, look at the sky. It's so bright. We're in Germany. Of course the weather's bipolar. It was literally just pouring and now it's sunny right after I bought an umbrella.